Happy Friday and welcome to this week's episode of Silver Scream Queens. My name is Emily and I am coming at you with a mini-sode this week. I hope that you enjoy. It's a little bit different than what we normally do. So this week, I am going to be ranking every season of American Horror Story. And I hope you're ready to take this ride with me because it gets fucking wild, because I think somebody needs to check on Ryan Murphy. We'll be starting at the bottom and going to the top, starting from the bottom now. Sorry, I apologize. I'm an adult woman. But before we start, I would just like to list in order the seasons. So we have season 1, Murder House, consisting of 12 episodes that premiered in 2011. Season 2, Asylum, with 13 episodes, which premiered in 2012. Season 3, Coven, which has 13 episodes, which premiered in 2013. Season 4, which is Freak Show, which has 13 episodes, which premiered in 2014. We have season 5, Hotel, which premiered in 2015 and was 12 episodes. We have season 6, Roanoke, which was comprised of 10 episodes, which premiered in 2016. Season 7, Cult, which had 11 episodes, which premiered in 2017. Season 8, Apocalypse, which had 10 episodes, which premiered in 2018. And finally, we have season 9, 1984, which had 9 episodes, which premiered in 2019. Now, there is a season 10 in the works, and the most exciting thing that you need to know about that is Macaulay Culkin is on board. So let's hope he's not home alone. I apologize again. That was bad. That was pretty bad. But if he is home alone, he won't, because Ryan Murphy never leaves the house empty. He fills it with fucking ghosts. Which brings us to how we're going to fucking rank these things. We're going to go from worst to best. So, in spot number 9, worst season so far of American Horror Story goes to Roanoke. This season was just straight up hard to watch. I can't say with confidence that I even watched the entire thing, the entire way through, because with my ADHD and like the weird documentary style storytelling, it was very hard to follow. And I am also like a mom and a human person that like has a lot of ADHD, that when I watch a TV show, I usually watch an episode like 3 times in a row before I can move on, because I'm like doing other shit, or I thought I was going to get through a full episode before my kid woke up from a nap, and then like I go to start it over and I'm just going to begin at the beginning again. And I did that a few times with this show, and I couldn't bring myself to do it with a bunch of these episodes. They were just hard to follow. You have this weird situation where it's this couple, Shelby and Matt, who are played by Lily Rabe and Andre Holland, and they're narrating a story where actors who in the show are named Audrey Tyndall and Dominic Banks, but who are played by Sarah Paulson and Cuba Gooding Jr., which is like, what? But they talk about a 500-year-old house that they bought, that they're like surprised that it's haunted. But like Lady Gaga also like low-key plays a mountain witch, which I'm here for. And you also have like, you do have Lily Rabe, you do have Sarah Paulson, and you do like, you have great actors. You have Kathy Bates in this season. You do not have Jessica Lange in this season, which was really felt. But yeah, it was just very, it was weird. It was a weird season. I couldn't really get into it. So it's my least favorite. Following that, in 8th place is Cult. The only reason this one isn't the worst is because the last episode kind of redeems it. This season which was like an escape from politics. Like I view horror and like the entire genre as an escape. And in 2016, when I needed an escape from politics, it literally was like, let's make this about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And of course, there was like random true crime references thrown in, because that's a Ryan Murphy thing, that like he needs to throw in like Manson and Jim Jones, and like he really just looked at Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson and they were like, you do this season. And they were like, okay. You did have Billy Lord in this season who shined. I am in love with Billy Lord. That's the whole episode, actually. I just brought you here to tell you that. No, I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. Everybody knows that. So obviously there's like a piece of my heart that's like, oh, she's Princess Leia's daughter. But she's also incredible, and she's beautiful, and she's like her own powerhouse in horror with Scream Queens, and I love her. But she's really good in this, and she's probably the best part of this season. Following that, in seventh place is 1984. The best part of this about this season is the theme. I love an 80s slasher, and that checked this box. It was also very smart for Ryan Murphy to like look at the ninth season and be like, I should do something intentionally campy, because when you do something that's like the same cast of people and the same relative story, it's just horror and a lot of like ghosts and haunted shit and witches, and then you like regurgitate that 8 times in different ways, you create your own tropes in a genre that already is like thick with tropes. So it was smart to like turn it on its head and be like, nope, we're intentionally campy, which I mean is to be fair, consistently the vibe with AHS. But you also get like the classic smattering of ghosts, sex, random true crime, and like inner season connections, which is fun. But also like very much taking an 80s slasher and making it a Ryan Murphy original. Following that is Hotel. There are 3 reasons why this season was good, and they are Lady Gaga, Sarah Paulson, and Dennis O'Hare. Lady Gaga serves us like a horny vampire mommy. Paulson is like a preview of what quarantine was going to be like for all of us in 5 years in the future. And Dennis O'Hara makes us weep on the floor over Liz Taylor. The Hotel Cortez, which is obviously the Cecil Hotel, which is also like PS kind of the H.A. Holmes mansion. But like if you remove the World's Fair, which was like the entire fucking thing. But anyway, I could talk about that for 100 hours. But anyway, it takes the Hotel Cortez and explores the lives and, more importantly, the deaths of its residents. There's also like a religious serial killer on the loose in the background, and there's like also vampire kids and then anti-vaxxers too. It's weird, but like it's sexy and fun, and it's like exactly what you expect from like a Lady Gaga extravagant hotel American Horror Story season. So I mean, I'm here for it. Following that, we have Freak Show. This is set in 1952, and honestly, it just makes me uncomfortable. It's mildly offensive, kind of from top to bottom. It gets points because Jessica Lange is amazing, and she sings Life on Mars by David Bowie, and that song gives me goosebumps, and then like Jessica Lange singing it gives me double goosebumps, and I enjoy that a lot. And we also have Jodie Amge, I believe, who is like breaking all of our hearts as the smallest cast member with the biggest heart. And they relied hard on like sexual tension and campy tropes this season, which like at points was good because there was also like a serial killer clown on the loose and like 1950s like I was at Makeout Point and with my gal and some guy just came out. It was very campy, but like I think that they started to lean into it this season, which is good. But then like the Danny storyline was weird because obviously he just existed to make you horny, but then like was also weirdly infantile, which is gross. So yeah, it's solidly in the middle of the pack. Following that, we have Apocalypse. This 2018 season pulls together elements from the previous 8, like all for the nuclear apocalypse. For the nuclear apocalypse. This felt like they thought it was going to be the last season of the show, the way that they just like neatly wrapped it and tied it with a bow. Ryan Murphy decided to take like the weirdest fucking route to nuclear apocalypse. There was like witches, Satanism, sex robots, like a murder house, retail hell, and like the Antichrist himself. And it all like ended up on the note of like it's imminent and inevitable, and death is coming for us all. And that's a fun way to end a season. So it's higher up on the list. Coming in at number 3, we have Asylum. So this was the second season of the show, premiered in 2012. It is the most critically acclaimed. I think it had like 16 or like 20. I don't know. I should have looked it up. It had a shit ton of Emmy nominations, and it fucking cleaned up too. It follows queer journalist Lena Winter's journey into the nun-filled Boston-adjacent murder housing sanitarium of Briarcliff Manor. Lena's there to get the scoop on Kit Walker, aka Bloody Face, who ends up just being an alien abductee who paid the price for being in an interracial relationship in 1964. Of course, it is killers on top of killers. There's conspiracies everywhere. There's like supernatural and extraterrestrial elements. And honestly, it's too many threads to follow, but like you'll have a good time as you go. The biggest complaint that I have about this entire fucking season, and maybe even this entire show, is the first 10 minutes. And if you haven't watched it in a while, it starts with Adam Levine, who is like on his honeymoon and just needs to fuck his wife inside of the now abandoned Briarcliff Manor, and then like gets murdered. It's very abrupt, it's very weird, and they never return to it. And it just feels honestly like the director and Adam Levine like got drunk one night and he was like, come be on my show. And then Adam Levine was like, bet. Okay. And then he had to like Annie up and do it. I don't know. It was weird, but I mean, it's a good season. It comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Murder House. This is both arguably the best, but also arguably the most problematic season of the series. This is obviously the one that started it all in 2011. It was like so shockingly taboo and overtly sexual, and it like made the show an instant hit. It was haunted house themed. It centered around the Harmon family and their new like beautiful 1920s California mansion, which was just like fucking stuffed with ghosts. It worked because it was a complex storyline and it hit the major horror and true crime classics because it like hit the Black Dahlia and obviously the haunted house vibes. It hit suicide. It hit school shootings. It had an incredible cast. It had Jessica Lange was fucking incredible. I'll get into the cast a little bit into my number 1 because I really want to dig into it. But lightning struck in a bottle. He captured lightning in a bottle here. And also it just had that pure shock element because it was the first thing of its kind. It didn't work because it used sexual assault, rape, mental illness, and perversion as cheap plot points. There's a couple of times where like they infer or they imply that being gay is wrong, like inherently, and that's just gross. It also arguably glorifies school shooters and school shootings, which is gross. It also really centers around like a 16-year-old girl's sexual blossoming with a ghost, which like raises questions of consent. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but like it feels yucky when the entire purpose of sexual tension is about like a teenager. I don't know. It just makes me feel weird. And also it was the classic too many storylines to invest into any of them. Like there was like the weird creepy twins. There was like the neighbors. There was like the previous miscarriage. There was the affair. There was like lamenting over demon babies. There was residents that you didn't really know about. There was arson that never like happened because the house didn't burn down. I don't know. It's weird. But it was good and it was striking. And obviously I've watched fucking 9 seasons of the show multiple times. So job well done. And number 1 is obviously Coven, season 3, premiered in 2013. And obviously this is just because of witches. That's my reason. I'm a basic witch and I won't deny it. This magical season takes us to New Orleans and Miss Robichaux's Academy for Exceptional Young Ladies through the eyes of a young witch named Zoe Benson, who joins her fellow descendants of the witches that they couldn't burn in Salem. The highlights are Jessica Lange as the Supreme, Fiona Good. There's Sarah Paulson as also Supreme, Cordelia Fox. Spoiler alert, which like fucking surprise at this point. Spoiler alert. We introduce Tasia Farmiga. I honestly apologize. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her name. As Zoe Benson, she becomes a longtime favorite of the cast. We have Lily Rabe as Misty Day, who is my favorite witch of all time. We have Angela Bassett as Marie Laveau. We have Jamie Brewer as the incredible Nan. We have Kathy Bates as Madame Delphine Larary. It is set in New Orleans, and it gives us classic feminist vibes. The lows are, it's a weak introduction to the main character, Zoe. Again, we use like shocking sexual experience and rape and assault as like cheap storylines here. Rape is consistently a scare tactic and a tactic for revenge throughout the show, and it just relies on some lazy storylines. It feels phoned in at points, but I mean, I watch this season annually, and I will continue to do that. So yeah, that is my American Horror Story 9-season roundup, and I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what I got wrong or what you think is different, what your favorite part, or explain to me why the fuck you like Roanoke, because I gotta know, babe. I gotta know. But until then, I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor, and that's to be kind to yourself, because if you're listening to my voice right now, that means that you made it through this year, and that's something to be proud of. Not everybody did. And I think that we're entering that point where at the end of a battle, they say, go home, grieve your dead, and move on. And we're getting there. And this is a hard part to be at. And I'm proud of you for making it to this point. And I'm really happy you're here. And I hope that you'll be here for the next episode and the one after that. And you don't even have to listen. I just hope you're around. So congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, and be nice. Be nice to yourself because you deserve it. Have a great weekend.